Welcome to our 4th annual Artists Beyond Boundaries event, a fundraiser benefiting Access to Independence. As we gather together tonight from computer screens near and far, we'll be taking time to recognize the 38 artists who submitted a total of 66 works of art, as well as announcing this year's finalists. My name is Jason Belaungi, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director at Access to Independence. Access to Independence is a nonprofit agency located in Madison, Wisconsin, and serves all of Columbia, Dane, Dodge, and Greene counties, and is one of Wisconsin's 8 independent living centers. What makes an independent living center unique is that we are consumer-run organizations. That means that no less than 51% of our staff, including management, are persons with disabilities, and our board of directors is also made up of no less than 51% of persons with disabilities. Another aspect of what makes us a great organization is that we provide an array of services with people of any type of disability and of any age. In addition to sharing who we are and who we serve, I also want to briefly share a list of the services we provide. They include information and referral, independent living skills training, peer support, advocacy, institutional transition and diversion, youth services and post-secondary youth transition, and assistive technology demonstrations, loans, training, and assessment services. In addition to the services we provide with individuals, Access to Independence also engages in several community impact services, including community education, collaboration, systemic advocacy, technical assistance, and outreach. For more information about these services, please visit our website at www.accesstoind.org. With all of those vital services, we're very proud of the work we do and the impact we have made. For over 43 years, our services have supported and empowered people with disabilities to live where we choose, how we choose, and with whom we choose. Artists Beyond Boundaries is an extension of that philosophy and also serves as a fundraiser for Access to Independence. This event is made possible through the generous support of our sponsors and by viewers like you. Our goal is to raise $1,000 through tonight's event. If you'd like to support our agency, please find the convenient online donation form directly below this video at any time during this event. Tonight, we celebrate the talents, self-expression, and empowerment of artists with disabilities. This journey started at the beginning of June when we invited artists with disabilities living all around Wisconsin to submit their artwork for a chance to win $200 and have their artwork featured in the 2022 Artists Beyond Boundaries calendar. Throughout the evening, we'll hear from the artists, the jurors, and the sponsors who made this event possible. So let's begin by meeting the jurors who had the incredibly difficult but important task of reviewing all 66 works of art and scoring each work of art to determine our 12 finalists.
Meet the jurors.
Hi, this is Anne, one of the jurors, and I just first want to congratulate all the artists on really, really great work and the additional work of having to photograph it and send it. I know that takes commitment, and I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate your effort and your guts to create something that's never been created before. That's what I love about artists, and appreciate, again, the talent and commitment that it takes. So thank you for the opportunity to look at your work, to assess and pick my top 12. Have a great celebration. I hope to see it, although I'm going to be way up north, and I hope I have Wi-Fi connection that I could see the party in October. Thanks again to all of you.
Hi there, my name is Ashanti Fortson, and I had the privilege this year of serving as one of the jurors for the Artists Beyond Boundaries event. First, I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the jurying process, including what I found rewarding and challenging about it. I'm interested in the emotional, the evocative, and the rifts and connections between human beings. Those are typically themes that I explore in my work, my illustrations, paintings, and comics. I'm currently working on my debut graphic novel, Cress and Petra, which follows Cress, an autistic teenager, as they develop a friendship with an autonomous android named Petra, and as they together navigate what it means to be a person. I'm autistic myself, and I live with various other disabilities and chronic illnesses, so communicating those facets of my life, those realities, and those feelings that are part of my life through my comics, through my work, has always been a really important thing to me. And that leads me into my thoughts on the jurying process as well, because art is personal, and the way that we relate to our art is personal, and the things we communicate in our art are personal. So judging art is always a challenge, because with that amount of personal investment, personal emotion, personal experience put into each artwork, it's impossible to look at a piece of art and say, this is good art and this is bad art, because there are so many ways to look at a piece of art, to interpret and experience a piece of art. And likewise, artists put so much into their art and so many different experiences and perspectives. So for me, it's less about, is this good? Is this bad? And much more about, what does this communicate? How effectively does it communicate? How effectively does it evoke emotion, concept, experience, perspective? As an illustrator, that's primarily my angle as well, right? Is conceptual communication. And not every piece of art has sort of an illustrative concept to it, an illustrative angle to it. But with each piece of art, I look at what the artist intended and what techniques, what principles, what fundamentals that artist used to achieve the communication of the thing they were trying to communicate. With all of that in mind, again, it really is a privilege for me to be able to view all of this amazing art and get to have a peek into the hearts of all of these amazing artists. And I hope that the feedback that I've given each of you on your pieces is helpful in some capacity. But either way, I hope that you will keep making art and that you will keep sharing yourself, your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences with the world through your art. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Priya Hawk. I'm a cartoonist with disabling chronic health issues, and I was one of the jurors for this event. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the artists who were vulnerable and brave enough to submit work to this juried event. As an artist, I know how hard it is to put yourself out there, and I really appreciate it. I was honored to be able to look at your work and critique it, and for those of you who are more experienced than I am, thank you for your patience and generosity in allowing me to judge your work. I loved viewing every piece, and wherever you are in your art journey, I'm wishing you all the best. Whether you're a fellow professional, someone who wants to become a professional, or one of the community's hallowed hobbyists, I appreciate all you do, and I look forward to seeing more of your work in the future. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, jurors. To learn more about this year's jurors, visit the homepage of this website.
Thank you to each of this year's jurors. While we certainly don't envy the hours spent reviewing nearly 70 works of art, we are very grateful for their time and talents. We'd also like to extend our gratitude to our sponsors. This event was made possible by the generous support of this year's main event sponsor, Colony Brands. Their support ensures the success of this event, and we'd like to take a moment to recognize them.
Ray Kubley's entrepreneurial spirit launched the Swiss Colony in 1926. Now called Colony Brands, we continue to flourish within the spirit of Kubley's vision. We're excited to show you what America's first mail-order cheese business has become. Today, we have fulfillment centers across 3 states, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Nevada, and house over 47,000 different SKUs. These facilities average over 500 employees during the peak season, receiving product from our suppliers and distributing orders to our customers. Colony Brands business operations now span 2 countries and 4 states. We hope you enjoyed this glimpse into just a few of the facilities that aid in our endeavor to become the best, customer-centric, omni-channel source for great products and services.
Now, If it wasn't for the artists, we wouldn't have an event. Let's learn more about some of these artists and the works of art they submitted. This segment of tonight's event is sponsored by Madison Gas and Electric, and we thank MG&E for their support.
Aaron Streifer. My brain works differently from most people's. I enjoy sharing my unique perspective and way of thinking with the people around me, and my art is my favorite way to do it. Amanda Lojeski.
I create art. Whenever I'm doing art, I consider that all the children that I have drawn on a nightlife and just these. I love seeing the smiles on everyone's faces when they see my artwork. That brings so much joy to me, knowing that my artwork brings so much joy to others. The one thing that I love the most about art is that art can be whatever you want it to be.
Anthony Farina.
Hi, my name is Anthony Farina. I love drawing mostly of animals. I like drawing dinosaur documentaries from a creationist perspective from my animation on the computer. In the past, I would enjoy watching dinosaur documentaries, but none of them were from a creationist perspective. Most of the creationist videos were pastors talking, which is not much fun for a child to enjoy. So I created these dinosaur videos to give the children a chance to learn that God made these animals along with everything that exists in our universe. You can see my videos on YouTube by typing in Dinosaurs: A New Beginning. Thank you.
Barb Preem. I started making art several years ago. When I got out after a long nursing home stay, I found out that I couldn't do some of the jobs that I used to do, so now I own my own business making and selling my art. I like watching baseball and football. I love the Packers. I need to keep everyone around me in line. I wonder about what would happen when I'm not around. I think my art is different now from when I started. I draw different objects and shapes using colored pencils, pens, watercolor, and gouache. Ben Fleischman. I feel good when I paint. Big brushes on a big canvas work best. Sometimes I also like to put tape or tissue paper on the canvas before I paint. I like to do art with the radio on. I paint in time to the music. Painting is great. Sometimes I'm surprised by how my painting turns out, but I always like them. Blake Edison. Blake Edison is an emerging artist currently exploring the use of various mediums within drawing, painting, and ceramics. His work is often gestural, bold, and colorful, invoking a rich physicality. Bobby Haig. Animals and nature have always inspired me, and they play a significant role in my life. I am a nature and pet photographer. I am awe-inspired when I watch a bird soar against the morning light, or when the light plays off the environment, setting everything aglow. I love capturing the moment in time and connecting with the animal or landscape that I'm photographing. Connecting in that manner fills my soul. Brianna Richardson. I started doing art, drawing, and painting when I was 8. I thought it was a time passer and it helped me deal with my mom's serious and eventually fatal illness. After my mom died, I moved to Stoughton and continued my art, but thought of art as only a way to keep me occupied. I started going to church, and one of the things I learned was that God can do what we can't. I thought I was drawing and painting nature for my mom. Now I'm thinking that she's not the only person I'm doing art for. Through my prayers, I have learned that God wants me to use His beauty and His art for everyone. When I'm writing and painting, I experience God's love and His beautiful creation, which is something I want people to explore when they look at what I do. Since God has filled His miraculous creation with fantastic colors in incredible varieties, I also use color in everything I do. Kara Swadine. I love shapes and color. Doing art makes me feel excited for the day. I like doing art in the studio to help each other be creative. I hope my art makes people feel happy. Deb Bushy. My art reflects the beauty, harmony, and serenity of nature. I always enjoy surprise opportunity of photographing a landscape after a snowfall or a still life of a flower in full bloom. All of my images are equally precious to me. I hope they are to those who enjoy them as well. My passion for creating photos highlighting the natural world showcases my admiration and effort for its survival. Elizabeth Piepenbrink.
Hi, I'm Betty Piepenbrink. I'm getting older, but ever since I was a little girl, I've loved to paint. So I'd say I have a passion for painting. And I do it because I love colors. I love making people happy with my paintings. If they're happy with them, I give them away quickly because I know it makes them smile. And so I just love colors. I love figuring out what colors go into what I see. There's never just one simple hue. So I guess that's my story.
Faye Willems. I always admired how artists can tell a story through their artwork. I was determined to tell my story. I get great satisfaction creating and learning new mediums, which helps me grow as an artist. I started really painting when I was taking care of my dad while he was in hospice. We would spend hours painting and talking. I'm inspired mostly by nature and the beautiful colors and textures it has to offer. Ginny Calden. I started painting late in life during a time period when I was bedbound. An old friend gave me a laptop easel and a set of paints to pass the time. Soon after, a friend asked me to paint a memorial portrait of her dear cat, and it just went from there. Painting has provided a great way for me to deeply connect with both animals and the people I paint them for. I love doing pet portraits, but find I'm most drawn to painting animals who live their lives out unseen under difficult circumstances. Through my art, I aspire to send the message that all animals are whole, sentient beings, and just like every one of us, worthy of love, comfort, and honor. The portrait of River, a rhesus macaque monkey, was painted from a photo of him while living as a subject in a medical research lab. River had the great good fortune to be selected as one of the first 3 monkeys to be retired from Primate Inc., a wonderful primate sanctuary in Westfield, Wisconsin. He was able to live out the remainder of his days with plenty of enrichment, peace, and autonomy. Memphis, the cow, was acquired as a calf by a family here in Wisconsin and has lived her whole life freely, a much-loved family member. Heather Sarabia. I didn't choose to become an artist. I am one. My art is a point of grounding for me. Art gives my lonely heart the purpose to move forward. My favorite part of being an artist is going to art shows and seeing people smile. I can express my treatment by society because of my autism through my art. Hope Lane. My name is Hope Lane, and I'm an artist with a passion to become a graphic designer. I'm on the autism spectrum, and the way that I deal with my disability is through my art. I love to paint using acrylic colors on canvas, and I love the feeling of picking up that brush and expressing myself, and have the feeling of knowing that I'm capable of everything. The colors I use are a symbol of how I see the world and how I want that world to look. Jessica Bornson. Animals, nature, and bugs inspire me to create art. I'm inspired to share my art with others as I see it brings them happiness. Creating art reminds me that I am not inferior, even with my disabilities. Jessica Barden.
Hi, my name is Jessica Barden. I stopped working here and I didn't know how to paint, and Deborah taught me how. Now I do animals and I did the softball, and now I know how to paint, and that's it.
Josh Wilkins.
I love it great because this world is full of so many beautiful things. And behind everything one of those beautiful things is an even more beautiful story. It is my goal to share those stories with everyone who sees my painting.
Kira Thompson.
Hi, I'm Kira. I create art because I love color. It's amazing to see how beautiful paintings can be when you find just the right combination of colors. I also create art because it makes me happy and because it makes me proud. The beauty of art that, unlike so many things in life, there are no expectations and no rules. Anyone can do it. Anyone can create happiness and beauty.
Before we meet the rest of this year's artists and the works they have submitted, let's take a moment to learn more about the impact that Access to Independence has had on those we serve.
Mitch's story. Access to Independence thanks Mitch for his willingness to share his story. He was unable to go on camera to share his own story and asked that it be shared on his behalf. Mitchell Berry is an 83-year-old Navy veteran who was in need of a safer solution to leave his home. He had difficulty getting down his stairs due to his visual impairment and relied on the use of his cane so as not to fall. Mikhail Snicker, an independent living specialist with Access to Independence, met with Mitch at his home to discuss what he was hoping to accomplish.
Hello, my name is Mikhail from Access to Independence. I started in February of 2019. I got to know Mitch through the VA. A social worker reached out to us through the intake and referral process.
After their meeting, Mitch decided that a permanent ramp solution was necessary for his independence. With Mikhail's help, Mitch was able to get in touch with Nation of Patriots, a nonprofit agency dedicated to providing financial assistance to disabled veterans. Mitch was given a one-time grant for the addition of a permanent ramp to his home.
With the partnerships through Nation of Patriots, the ramp installer, and certainly Mitch and his goal of wanting a ramp, which is what he said, I want a ramp. And as the independent living specialist, I decided we were going to lean way into helping Mitch. So it started with the partnership with the VA, and then reaching out to us, the email to get the process started, and then helping Mitch with the forms. Due to his disability, we helped with the forms process so he could access those forms and be successful in the application process towards the goal of accessibility in the home. Mitch's independence has increased. He had 3 steps prior to getting the ramp installed, and recently he needed to leave the home urgently, was able to do so safely down the ramp that is structurally sound, permitted by the park, and was able to get to medical appointments. So his ability to access his environment has improved significantly.
If you'd like to support the services that empower people with disabilities to live as independently as they choose, please use the donate form directly below this video. With your help, we can reach our fundraising goal of $1,000. And now, let's meet the rest of the artists who submitted artwork for this year's Artists Beyond Boundaries event. Again, this segment is sponsored by Madison Gas and Electric.
Lori Nerad.
My name is Lori Nerad. I love art. I love coming to the studio because I love creating new things and seeing different ways to do things that I never thought was possible. I would come here 5 days a week if I could, but right now that's not feasible. Maybe someday it will be.
Luann Mueller. Luann Mueller is an artist who works mainly in art metal and also other media. By focusing on techniques and materials, Luann considers making art a craft, which is executed using clear format rules and which should always refer to social reality, in which craftsmanship is of great importance. Recognition in her art plays an important role, taking daily life as subject matter while commenting on the everyday aesthetic. Play is a serious matter. During the game, different rules apply than in everyday life, and even everyday objects undergo transubstantiation. Her work sometimes radiates a dispassionate tone. At times, disconcerting beauty emerges. The visual seductiveness, along with the consciousness of the works, further complicates their manifold layers of meaning. By emphasizing aesthetics, moments are depicted that only exist to punctuate the human drama in order to clarify our existence and to find poetic meaning in everyday life. Making art is freedom. Mary Koopmans.
Hi, my name is Mary Koopmans. I submitted 2 pieces for Artists Without Boundaries. I submitted one where it's Disney princesses all in a row, and that was inspired by my love for Disney princesses. And the second one, it's you're looking out a window frame, and it's all the seasons of life and the seasons of the year of me and my service growing up. The princess one, I used acrylic, and painting is out of my comfort zone, while sketching was easy for me. I used acrylic for the princess and watercolor for the other one with the service dog, and yeah, it was good to go out of my comfort zone, and I was happy with how they turned out.
Mary Bigsby.
I create art because I want to connect with my inner child, since I believe all people are born with innate creativity that they could lose if they don't nurture their inner child. I become meditative, calm, and de-stressed when I create art. I feel more confident and resilient when I create art, and I can face new challenges. So thank you for this opportunity to create art, and I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Mila Holcomb.
Hi, my name is Mila, and I enjoy art because I love to do art, and I like to be inspiration of art, and I like to be creative. And I also like to paint, draw, and do whatever for my activities. And I like to do dancing. So there.
Nathan Kehoe.
Hello, my name is Nathan Kehoe. I'm here to talk to you about art, how I like art. I like art because I was age of 3 years old. I started painting a picture of myself. I like art really much. I love drawing markers, and painting.
Nicole Johnson.
Hello, my name is Nicole. There are so many different reasons as to why I create art. I first started creating art when I was in school, and then I ended up falling in love with it, and I just kept on going. I really love creating something out of nothing. There's a lot of different mediums that I enjoy, like photography, paint mostly, watercolor I love it, it's beautiful. I just love that there's been so many different mediums that have been created throughout the years, and I think a lot of my inspiration comes from nature, different sounds in the world, birds chirping, and I just love that art can bring people together that wouldn't probably that might potentially never have been able to be brought together. I love that a lot of people can create different art, and there's a lot of beauty in different art, and it's great to see where art has come throughout the years.
Patricia Griot.
I've always been a curious and adventuresome person. I used to channel that energy into my career and into my travels all over the world. I was drawn to collecting artwork in my travels. It was then a life-changing injury ended that. I suffered a severe traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder. Suddenly, my usual forms of expression were gone, and I turned to art as a new form of expression. I tried many forms of art, from glass blowing to blacksmithing to many other types. I am drawn to express myself in my feelings, good and challenging, through my artwork. I wish that for everyone.
Polly Ivanova.
Like I said in my statement, the universe itself channels its own self-knowing energy to all the artists, who then put that self-knowing cosmic energy into the artwork. It looks like magic, but it's actually very scientific.
Robert Reinhardt Spatola. Why do I create art? I use art to escape from the outside world. Rose Heflin. Originally from rural southern Kentucky, I spent the first part of my childhood running wild and free, barefoot in the countryside, and the resulting love of nature compelled me to major in environmental studies at Beloit College. I later studied botany as part of the agroecology master's program at UW-Madison, and while my OCD kept me from completing the program, there is no such thing as a reformed botanist. Consequently, this long-standing love of nature and flora leads me to frequently incorporate plants into my artwork. While art and nature have always been important to me, it has become apparent in recent years that they are two of the only arenas in which I can successfully tackle the severe, treatment-resistant OCD that has plagued me since childhood. Unlike traditional treatment modalities, art provides adequate motivation for me to ignore my obsessions and overcome my compulsions, albeit temporary, and I simply feel safe and at peace in nature. Attempting to adequately capture nature's infinite beauty is a never-ending challenge that I thoroughly enjoy, and I hope that my reverence shines through in my work. Samantha Tadich.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I am a bilateral transradial amputee, so I don't have both hands. I'm also a lower BK amputee, so I don't have a right foot. I love to create because it gives me a chance to escape my everyday reality, which is wonderful, but it also is full of difficulties that I have to use a lot of effort to do normal things. So I really hope you enjoy what I make, because it really makes me happy and it makes me feel good about myself. So I hope you enjoy. Bye.
Sarah Helmer. I use art as a way to express myself and make stories. Shelby Rios. I am inspired by the idea that not all disabilities are visible ones. I have been living with a new disability for the last 2 years that has greatly affected me and has been a struggle. I found a new family and a community, but also new forms of discrimination. I chose photography with a few close friends as a form of expression to showcase that not all disabilities are visible, but that does not mean that they are not just as debilitating as others. Sierra Seeger.
My name is Sierra Seeger. I live in Sun Prairie. I am a young adult with Down syndrome. My art is unique. It is special because I am ambidextrous. Not only can I use both hands, I like to explore using unconventional tools for brushes and alternative materials for paint. For example, I use food coloring for watercolors or makeup for acrylic. I utilize pine cones, flowers, twigs, acorns, leaves, cotton, sponges, broccoli, and pasta for brushes. Music, dancing, and painting help me work through my anxiety of having an autoimmune disease. I leave my signature sparkle in every piece I create. Painting makes me calm and puts a smile on my face. Thank you for including me.
Stuart Nagy.
Hi, my name is Stuart. I like to do pottery and painting and do things with clay. And I just love it. I just love doing clay, getting dirty, and creating art in all different ways.
Susan Stanky. I grew up in Mercer, Wisconsin. My uncle was a farmer and logger. My aunt loved to go around and take pictures. She also planted flowers by the house. I love nature, especially birds, flowers, and animals. I also love flowers, especially driving around looking for spring wildflowers. I am an oral hard of hearing person. I'm also a cancer survivor. Tammy Lipsky. Creating art helps ease my mind and calm my inner spirits. Teresa Gearhards. Influenced as a child by my mother's love of fabric, a professional seamstress and educator in her own right, I began as an adult to explore the endless possibilities textiles have to offer. Utilizing mixed media, I embellish my designs to portray and explore movement, the environment, and the nuances of life. My work is inspired from the natural world, a variety of Middle Eastern cultures, and the strength and power of women. The creative process brings me great joy and peace, a focused mind, and a true sense of being alive. On behalf of Access to Independence, thank you.
What an incredible array of talent, which makes clear why the jurors had such a tough task. In a moment, we're going to reveal the top 12 works of art. But before we do, we want to make sure to ask that you stay tuned to the very end of the event to learn how you, yes, you watching on your computer screen, can vote for the final winner of this year's event, the People's Choice Award. More on that to come. And now, the big reveal. This year's top 12 works of art. The artists whose work have been selected as this year's top 12 will each receive an award of $200 courtesy of our event sponsor, Colony Brands. In addition to that prize, each artist will have their selected work featured in the 2022 Artists Beyond Boundaries calendar. The 2022 Artists Beyond Boundaries calendar has been made possible by another generous sponsor, WISPACT. And with that, here are your finalists.
Meet the top 12. The top 12, number 1. Bobby Haig for Riding the Waves. Number 2. Aaron Streifer for Thistles. Number 3. Mary Bigsby for Benny the Multi-Poo. Number 4. Faye Willems for Foxy. Number 5. Deb Bushy for Winter Blues. Number 6. Kira Thompson for Rainbow Cat. Number 7. Ben Fleischman for Saxophone Sunset. Number 8. Josh Wilkins for Birch Forest. Number 9. Ginny Calden for Memphis. Number 10. Brianna Richardson for Sing Unfailing Love. Number 11. Luann Mueller for Heart Plant. And number 12. Polly Ivanova for Blue Self-Portrait. This year's top 12. Thank you, artists.
Congratulations to this year's top 12 finalists. But we're not done quite yet. As mentioned earlier, you, the viewer, gets to help decide this year's People's Choice Award, which is sponsored by Summit Credit Union. You have the power to choose a 13th and final award given out for this year's event. Any artist whose work has not already been selected by the jurors is eligible to receive the People's Choice Award. Simply go to the vote page at the top of this website to vote for the work of art you think should be featured on the cover of our coveted 2022 Artists Beyond Boundaries calendar, sponsored by WISPACT. The artist who wins the People's Choice Award will also receive $200. We'll announce the People's Choice Award winner live on the Access to Independence Facebook page on October 14th at 12 noon. Be sure to like and follow our Facebook page and tune in next week for the big announcement. And that concludes this evening's event. From all of us here at Access to Independence, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next year. Good night.